12:20 on at noon. Lawmakers over the coming days will be creating stacks and stacks of proposed bills, using enough paper to have populated a small forest with trees. It'll be a furious back and forth as bills are drafted, introduced, redrafted, debated, redone again. Then, for the most part, most of them are simply thrown away. There's a small staff in the Roundhouse whose job it is to keep track of what could seem to the casual onlooker to be coordinated mayhem. But they have the system down pat. KSFR Cynthia Cook visited the Roundhouse to speak with Paula Tackett. She's head of the small working group known as the Legislative Counsel Service.
We are the full-time, permanent research, bill drafting, sort of general staff for the legislature. Laws get passed by the legislature. The form in which they must pass is a bill, and the bills must be written, and they're written by expert drafting legal staff here in the council service. So we staff the interim committees, and out of those come a lot of proposed pieces of legislation which we draft, and then individual members will come in with requests, either their ideas or their constituents' ideas.
So leading up to this session, which is a 2-month session, the bills have been coming your way now for several weeks, months.
Oh, I would say months, because some members want to get things into bill draft form because they're working with groups of people and trying to work out compromises beforehand. The wonderful part about the legislative process for me and I think for the citizens is it's the place where people can come together and resolve issues. And everybody gives a little bit. Compromise is a key word, and in my mind it's not a bad word. But they come together, and if they can come to an agreement, then they can solve something for the citizens of New Mexico. And that's the whole process is about coming together and working things out and solving problems. Like, we have a big budget problem, as you probably know, this year, and we are looking for having to build up $400 or $500 million worth of general fund just to meet the deficit and then move forward for next year's budget.
So you work with legislators, but not the governor.
We also draft for the governor. We're actually the drafting agency for the state, although we are a legislative branch agency. We work for the legislature. We maintain confidentiality for them. We also maintain confidentiality for the governor when they request us to draft things, for the courts, for the universities, for the other agencies. We draft for everybody. And because we've maintained confidentiality for the 50-plus years we've been in existence, I think we have a pretty good reputation.
And is this a typical way for state legislatures to operate, or is this unique?
Everyone does it different. There are a number of the states in the sort of West Pacific, the mountain states, that are fairly, smaller, have more centralized staff, fairly long-term staff. Not a lot of us, given the population keeps growing. And then you have, what I call the congressional model: California, Pennsylvania, Michigan, New Jersey, all those who are basically full-time in a congressional model. And they have research bureaus, and they have Senate and House full research staffs, and they have bill drafting staff, sort of like Congress with the Congressional Reference Bureau, and then each committee has their own staff for drafting and research. And they're huge operations. We, I think, run a very efficient. We have a legislative finance committee that deals with budget. We have an education study committee that deals with education programming and some budget, and then we sort of do the rest of it.
And how many people on your staff?
Well, we have about 50, and then we go up to almost 100 during session, because we add a couple of bill drafters, staff attorneys, but we have double shifts of the print shop, word processing, proofing, because everything goes through a proofing department. There are other things that, if your listeners are interested, we have a full website. You can get you can find all the bills online. You can track where they are. We have a very good locator system. In fact, I think it's one of the best in the country, because it shows you not just where the bill is, it shows you where it's been and where it's going, and what the actions have been on it to date. So it really is a very comprehensive, in a very short little section. It shows you what's happening with the bills.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Delighted. I hope people will come and give their input.
Paula Tackett, the head of the Legislative Council Service at the Roundhouse, speaking with KSFR's Cynthia Cook. 12:26 on At Noon.